For centuries, the Galactic Union believed humans were nothing more than a myth. Whispers about them echoed in ancient data archives, but no real evidence ever surfaced. Many said they were a bedtime story told to scare young aliens into behaving. Others called them the universe's ghost species, powerful, emotional, unpredictable, and long extinct. Dr. Zarn, a respected xenoscientist from the planet Virelin, had always been fascinated by the legend of humans. He studied ancient space signals and lost transmissions, hoping to find something real. His peers mocked him, called him obsessed, said he was wasting his time on stories meant for children. But everything changed one cycle when a strange signal reached his lab. It was old, buried beneath layers of radiation and static, hidden like someone wanted it never to be found. After hours of cleaning the data, a voice came through. Calm, steady, human, we are out there. Watching you too. The lab fell silent. Zarn stared at the waveform. It wasn't a computer-generated sound. It had tone, rhythm, fear. And something else, confidence. He ran a deep scan. The signal carried biological data, not just sound, but encoded DNA markers. What the scanner found shook him to his core. The structure was unlike anything in the current database. No known species matched it. But it was real, complex, and entirely organic. Dr. Zarn sent the results to the Galactic Council. He explained the DNA did not belong to any member species. It was advanced, ancient, and potentially linked to the mythical humans. They laughed. High Chancellor Velu said Zarn must be hallucinating. Another council member asked if he had been exposed to low-oxygen experiments again, but Zarn didn't argue. He knew what he had heard. And what he had found. That night, under complete secrecy, he activated Project Echo, a personal research probe designed for deep space missions. He uploaded the DNA coordinates, gave it fuel, and sent it into the void. Its mission was simple. Find the source of the transmission. Find the being behind that voice. 3 standard months passed. Zarn's lab was under review. He was ordered to stop wasting time and return to official council work. Just when he was about to lose hope, the probe sent back a signal. It had found something. Far beyond charted space, hidden inside a dark nebula, a structure floated silently. It was not metallic like modern ships. It was organic in texture, scarred and cold. The probe entered. There were no signs of life, no energy signatures. Just one thing at the center, a sealed pod. Zarn stared at the feed. The pod was covered in frost, but a blue light blinked faintly. The sensors scanned it and confirmed the impossible. Inside, a living organism. Status stable. Species unknown. DNA exact match with the myth. The being inside was small compared to most alien races. Hair on its head, smooth skin, eyes closed in deep sleep. Human. Zarn whispered, "You were real. All along." He brought the pod back to Virelin under strict secrecy. His lab was locked down. Even his closest assistants didn't know what he was doing. Carefully, he thawed the outer layer. As the temperature normalized, the pod began to respond. Lights activated, monitors flashed. Then, for the first time in what could be centuries, the human opened his eyes. He didn't panic. He didn't scream. He looked around, calm and aware. His first words were simple. "Where am I?" Zarn stepped forward. "You are safe. You've been asleep for a very long time." The human sat up slowly. He moved his fingers, then his neck. His eyes scanned the room like he already understood everything. He looked directly at Zarn and asked, "Did Earth fall?" Zarn froze. How did this man know his planet might be gone? More importantly, how did he speak their language? Or was he speaking his own, and the translator system just worked? Zarn tried to respond, but the human was already standing. He walked toward the observation window and looked out. Stars, planets, a completely different galaxy. He smiled. "You found us," he said. "Or maybe ... we let you," Zarn asked. "How? Are you alive? We thought your kind was a myth." The human turned around. His eyes weren't just looking, they were searching. "Humans don't die easily," he said. "You'll learn that soon." Zarn stared at him, confused and fascinated. The human continued, "If you found me ... others will follow." Before Zarn could respond, the lab lights flickered. Something in the systems changed. The pod's final log had begun playing. It repeated the same message over and over. "If you're hearing this, it means they found me. But remember, we never left. We just stopped talking. Zarn knew in that moment everything was about to change. The myth was real. And now, the galaxy had a human walking among them. The human stood quietly in the observation room. His eyes moved slowly, scanning the galaxy through the glass. There was no panic in him, no fear. Just calm understanding, like he had seen this view before. Dr. Zarn couldn't stop watching him. The legends never said humans were this composed, this alert. They were supposed to be wild, dangerous, primitive, but this one looked like he had walked out of a memory and into the future. Zarn activated the main medical scanner. He had waited years for this moment. The machine began scanning the humans. Body, molecule by molecule, heartbeat detected. Brain activity intense, nervous system complex. Every reading triggered alerts the machine had never given before. Then something strange happened. The scanner stopped. Its screen flashed a red message. Scan interrupted. Intelligence level to high. Zarn froze. He had scanned hundreds of species from across the galaxy. Not once had the system failed to process brain data. But this time, it couldn't handle the patterns. He tried again. The system overloaded. The human turned around, watching Zarn struggle. He tilted his head slightly and said, "That machine doesn't understand me. No machine will." Zarn tried to stay professional. "Are you aware of what's happening?" The human nodded. "Yes, and I know you're not the first to find us. But you're the first to wake one." Zarn stepped back. "How many of you are there?" The man smiled softly. "Enough," Zarn asked. "Where are they?" The human smile faded. "Sleeping, waiting, hidden in places you'll never look." "Because you still don't know what we really are." Zarn didn't respond. He turned to the console and started a deep language analysis. He wanted to see how this man spoke their language so fluently. But the results confused him. The human wasn't using the universal translator. He was speaking a form of English. And somehow, the lab systems were adapting to him instead of the other way around. That had never happened before. The human sat down on the edge of the bed and looked around. "Nice place to clean. You aliens love your shiny walls," Zarn asked. "What happened to your planet?" The human's face darkened. "It burned. But not before we made sure someone would carry the spark." Zarn didn't understand. "You mean you planned this?" The man looked at him. "Serious now? You think your galaxy is safe? You think your systems are perfect, but you've never faced anything like us." Zarn said, "We don't want war." The human nodded. "Good, because you'd lose." Zarn stared. The man didn't say it as a threat. It was simply a fact. There was no anger in his voice, just truth. The scanner pinged again. This time, it had picked up something hidden deep in the human's brain, some kind of memory lock, encoded with strange patterns. It wasn't data. It was emotion. Zarn activated the neural viewer. What he saw was terrifying. Flashes of giant machines walking across destroyed cities. Fire falling from the sky. Children laughing in the middle of chaos. Soldiers refusing to give up. A woman smiling before disappearing in a flash of light. The earth cracking apart, and still, humans fighting to save others. The system began to spark. One of Zarn's assistants collapsed from sensory overload. Zarn shut the viewer down. He couldn't breathe for a second. The memories were too intense. To human. He turned to the man. "How do you survive that?" The human looked at him. "We don't always survive, but we never stop." Zarn whispered, "You're not like us." The human nodded slowly. "No one is." Outside the lab, the Galactic Union had started asking questions. A strange power spike had been detected. Council officers were now watching Zarn's lab closely. He received an encrypted message that read, "Any further interaction with unknown species is a violation of Code 7. You are to hand over the specimen immediately." Zarn read it twice. He looked at the human. "They want to take you." The man stood up. His posture changed. He wasn't relaxed anymore. He looked ready for something. He said, "They won't understand me. They'll try to break me." Zarn replied, "And if they do?" The human didn't blink. "Then they'll learn what happens when you try to control something you don't understand." Zarn knew what he had to do. He shut down the lab systems, activated lockdown protocol, and began preparing a transport ship. The human asked, "Why are you helping me?" Zarn paused. "Because I've studied 1,000 species. And not one of them has ever made me feel like this." "Like what?" Zarn looked him in the eye, like maybe we're not the smartest ones out here. The human smiled again. Now, you're getting it. They moved quickly. Alarms started to echo in the distance. Zarn opened the secret launch bay. The stars were calling. The human stepped aboard the ship, ready to leave. He turned back one last time and said, "Tell them the myth is awake." Then he vanished into the dark sky. And for the first time in galactic history, the truth had a face, a human. The ship flew in silence through deep space. Zarn sat at the controls, constantly checking the scanners. Behind him, the human stood near the window, watching stars blur past. He seemed calm, like this escape wasn't urgent for him, like he'd done this before. Zarn finally turned and asked, "Do you know where we're going?" The human replied without looking back, "Somewhere quiet. Somewhere they won't follow, not yet." Zarn leaned forward. "You've been here before, haven't you? This galaxy, these systems," the human nodded. "A long time ago, before your union, before your science." Zarn couldn't understand how that was possible. The timeline didn't fit. His mind raced with questions. How could a species this advanced disappear so completely? And if they were so powerful, why did they fall? He decided to ask, what happened to Earth? The human's expression changed. It destroyed itself. Not all at once, bit by bit. We fought each other. Then, we fought things we shouldn't have. We survived, but not all of us. Zarn asked, "Why go into hiding?" "We had no choice," the human answered. "The ones who remained... we sealed ourselves away. We built vaults in the stars, waiting for the right time. For someone to remember us," Zarn whispered. "And I did." The human smiled faintly. "You did." Suddenly, a warning alarm buzzed. 3 ships were following. "Galactic Union patrols." Zarn cursed under his breath. "They found us faster than I thought." The human walked to the console and studied the readout. "Their engines are faster. You won't outrun them." "But I can stop them." Zarn turned quickly. "You're not armed. What can you do?" The man held up a hand. "Just trust me." Zarn slowed the ship. The patrols approached. Then the human stood at the center of the ship, eyes closed, one hand touching the metal wall. He began whispering something no translator could understand it. But the ship responded. Lights flickered. Power surged. Zarn's controls locked. The scanners showed something strange. The enemy ships slowed down. Their engines shut off. Systems froze. All 3 ships drifted. Powerless. Zarn stared at the human. "What did you just do?" "I told the ship to show them what it means to fear us again." Zarn had no words. He realized this human didn't need weapons. His presence alone was dangerous. He turned toward the navigation system. "Where now?" The human answered, "To a world you've never charted, one where something waits." Zarn asked, "Another human? Something more?" The man said. As they disappeared into deep space, the disabled patrols slowly came back online. But by then, it was too late. The myth had already vanished again. The planet was dead. No atmosphere. No cities. No signs of life. Zarn looked out at the surface through the cockpit window. The whole world was covered in ash and black rock. Not even the Galactic Union had mapped this place. It was too close to a collapsing star, too unstable for colonization. But the human insisted this was the place. Zarn said, "There's nothing here." The man replied, "Not on the surface." They landed in silence. As soon as the human stepped outside, something changed. The ground beneath him reacted. Small pulses of energy lit up around his feet, like the planet recognized him. Zarn followed, stunned. They walked half a mile before stopping at a flat patch of rock. The human knelt and placed his hand on the ground. A low vibration began. Then the earth opened. A circular door appeared, glowing with blue light. They stepped inside. What Zarn saw took his breath away. Miles below the surface, hidden in darkness, was a massive vault. Walls lined with strange symbols, machines he didn't understand. And in the center, a single chair surrounded by floating crystals. The human approached it and spoke. "I am Alex Monroe. Captain, Earth Defense Corps, last generation." The crystals glowed. A voice responded. "Not mechanical. Not alien. Human. Identity confirmed." "Welcome back, Captain," Zarn whispered. "This is your technology." Alex nodded. "A vault, a memory bank, a piece of who we were." Zarn asked, Why hide it here? Alex said, because sometimes the truth must sleep until the right time comes. He stepped into the center. The crystals floated around him, scanning him gently. Then, holograms filled the room. Images of Earth, of cities reaching the sky, of children playing near oceans, of scientists building spacecraft that could bend time. Of war, so much war. Zarn watched as the Earth fell apart. Climate collapse, civil unrest, alien invasions, then one final battle in orbit. A massive ship, human-built, firing its last shot before going dark. Alex turned toward him. We were the first to reach beyond the stars. But we were also the first to break ourselves. Zarn asked, why show me this? Alex looked directly at him. Because your people will face the same choice soon. Comfort or courage, control or chaos, unity or extinction. Zarn didn't know what to say. The crystals began showing another vision. Other humans in cryo chambers, spread across the galaxy, hidden. Alex spoke again. You didn't just wake me. You woke the signal. Now others will hear it too. Zarn asked, will they come here? Some will. Others will try to stop us. But one way or another, they'll know. Zarn stepped back. Know what? Alex walked toward him slowly. That humans weren't myths. We were warnings. Outside the vault, the star above began to flicker. Time was running out. Alex turned toward the exit. We have to go. Zarn followed without question. As they climbed back to the ship, the vault sealed behind them. The planet returned to silence, but the message had already been sent. Across space, in hidden corners of forgotten systems, other vaults began to glow. One by one, they started to wake. And for the first time in 1,000 years, humanity stirred in the shadows of the stars. The ship moved fast, cutting through uncharted space. Zarn flew manually, weaving between asteroid fields and abandoned satellite belts. Behind him, Alex remained silent, focused on the small data tablet he had pulled from the vault. Zarn finally asked, are they going to follow us? Alex nodded. Yes, not just them. Others too. Zarn swallowed hard. Who exactly? The ones who destroyed Earth. They were watching us long before the war began. They feared what we could become. Zarn tightened his grip on the controls. Are they still out there? Alex looked up. Some. They faded into the background, took new names, joined your councils. Quiet, powerful, hidden, but they'll come now. Because the message woke more than just us. Zarn turned toward him. Then we're not safe anywhere. Alex gave a tired smile. We were never safe. We just forgot how to fight. A beeping sound filled the cockpit. A new transmission was coming through, encrypted and marked top priority. Zarn opened it. It was from the Galactic Council. Dr. Zarn, your actions are in violation of Union Code. Turn over the unidentified specimen immediately, or face military force. Zarn closed the message without replying. Alex said, they're afraid of what they don't understand, and humans. We're hard to understand. Zarn said, they'll send more than messages next time. Alex stood. Then we'll stop running. Zarn looked at him in shock. You mean fight them? Alex nodded. You wanted to know what humans really are. Now's the time to learn. They landed on a forgotten moon, filled with abandoned mining stations and deep underground caverns. Alex said it would be the perfect place to hide for now. But hiding wasn't the real plan. In the dark underground base, Alex activated old Earth tech stored in the vault core. He connected it to the galactic network. Files began transmitting. Not weapons. Not threats. Memories. Alex was sharing Earth's past. All of it. Billions across the galaxy started receiving flashes of history. Real footage, children laughing. Storm swallowing cities. Mothers crying over lost sons. Fighters refusing to surrender. Human faces filled with fire, fear, and hope. Zarn watched in silence. Alex turned to him. This is what we were. Not perfect, but we felt more than anyone else ever did. Zarn whispered, they won't know how to handle this. They're not supposed to. Alex replied. They're supposed to feel it. An explosion shook the cavern. The scanners flashed. Union ships had arrived. Zarn jumped to the controls. Alex said calmly, don't fire. Zarn asked, then what? Open the door. Zarn hesitated, then activated the entrance gate. The lead Union officer stormed in, weapon ready. He saw Alex standing unarmed. The officer said, you're coming with us. Alex replied, no, but you can stay and listen. Behind him, A hologram played. The fall of Earth. The rise. The refusal to surrender. The officer lowered his weapon, confused. Then another soldier behind him dropped his gun. Then another. They weren't ready for this. They weren't trained to fight emotion. Alex walked past them. You can't erase us. Not anymore. He stepped outside into the light, and the galaxy kept watching. The moon's atmosphere was thin. The wind barely a whisper, but across the galaxy, the echo of Earth's past had grown loud. Alex's message had traveled far. To places Zarn had never heard of. To beings who had never seen a human, but now they had. And many couldn't stop watching. On the capital world of Venker, a rebellion sparked inside the thought-controlled population. Citizens who had lived under quiet fear began questioning everything. On a frozen colony, a group of workers stopped mining when they saw the human's face on the news feed. One worker whispered. They said he was just a myth. And on a distant research station, a silent alert triggered deep within a black vault. A pod opened. Another human woke up. Back on the moon, Alex was preparing. He moved with quiet purpose. Through the underground base, Zarn followed him through corridors filled with old tech and broken wires. Zarn asked, "You knew this would happen?" Alex nodded. It was never about staying hidden forever. Just waiting for the right moment to return. Zarn said, "You're awakening others, aren't you?" Alex stopped walking. "I'm not awakening them." The message is, Zarn understood. The emotion, the pain, the truth. It was a signal. Alex pointed to a large terminal. This is a beacon. One of many. When active, it connects to every hidden vault in this galaxy. Zarn's voice trembled. How many vaults? More than enough. Suddenly, sirens echoed. A new enemy had arrived. Not Union ships. Worse. Zarn checked the scanners. These aren't from the Council. Alex's face turned grim. They're not. They're the ones behind the fall. The ones who made sure Earth burned. From the sky, sleek black ships descended. No markings. No names. Just silence. They didn't broadcast a warning. They just opened fire. The moon shook. Zarn shouted, "We need to leave." Alex shook his head. Not yet. He stood at the beacon, powering it up. The room pulsed with energy. Zarn grabbed him. "You'll be killed." Alex looked calm. "This is what we do. We light the fire even if it burns us." The beacon activated. Across space, dozens of signals awakened. In the dark corners of dead worlds, cryopods unlocked. Human eyes opened. The black ships landed. Alex walked outside, alone. Zarn watched from cover. The enemy stepped forward. Alien in shape, tall and armored, with cold metallic eyes. Alex didn't run. He simply said, "You should have finished the job." The alien raised its weapon, but before it could fire, a blast from orbit destroyed the black ship behind it. Zarn looked up. A ship was descending. Human made. And this time, Alex wasn't the only one aboard. The galaxy was no longer alone. The myth had become a movement, and it had just begun. The human ship hovered in the sky. Black and sharp, shaped for war but silent like a ghost. Zarn stood near the base entrance, eyes wide. He had only seen human technology in memories, in scattered data, in broken relics. But now it was real, flying, alive, from its open hangar. Ramp, figures stepped out. Men and women, human, different faces, different builds. Same fire in their eyes. Zarn counted 7 at first, but more followed. They moved with quiet discipline, no fear, no hesitation. Each carried gear from a time long forgotten. Their clothing wasn't made for style or decoration. It was made for survival. Alex stood in front of them, facing the enemy. The tall alien in black armor watched without expression. Zarn couldn't speak. He just listened. Alex raised his voice, clear and steady. "You buried us, lied about us, told the galaxy. We were myths. You erased every trace you could find, but you forgot one thing. You can't destroy a species that refuses to stop trying." The enemy commander responded, voice cold and sharp. "You should have stayed dead." Alex took one step forward. "You say that like we didn't choose to disappear." The alien lifted a weapon, but before it could fire, one of the new humans struck from the side fast and precise. In seconds, 3 enemy soldiers fell. Zarn watched the fight begin. It wasn't chaos. It was controlled fury, every move calculated, every strike meaningful. The human team didn't have the numbers, but they didn't need them. They had something else. Conviction. Zarn ran into the control room and activated the base defenses. Old Earth cannons hidden in the rocks powered up. The enemy ships above began firing, but the human ship responded with perfect aim, disabling two before they could even lock targets. The battle spread across the surface. The ground shook, fire rose, but through it all, the humans moved like they had trained their whole lives for this one day. Alex fought at the front, leading without shouting. He didn't order, he inspired. Zarn saw it clearly now. This wasn't just a fight. It was a return, a reminder. Across the galaxy, signals from the beacons kept spreading. Civilizations paused their routines to watch. News feeds exploded, secret channels buzzed. Words like real, returned, and human became the most searched in the galaxy. On worlds ruled by fear, people began to whisper, if the humans came back, maybe others could rise too. The enemy forces were falling back. Their numbers were larger, but they didn't understand what they were fighting. Not just people. An idea. Alex and his team pushed forward until the last enemy ship broke orbit and escaped. Silence followed. Zarn walked outside, the air thick with smoke and dust. The human ship lowered to the ground again. One by one, the humans returned to the ramp, quiet but steady. Zarn looked at Alex. Is it over? Alex shook his head. No, but now. They know we're not gone. Zarn stepped closer. What will you do? We'll wake more, Alex said. There are others. Still asleep, still waiting. Zarn asked, will the Union fight you? Alex nodded. Some will, some already are. But others are listening. Some are even helping us. Zarn lowered his voice. You changed everything in 1 week. Alex looked around at the ruined ground, at the cratered sky, at the horizon slowly turning gold. No, you changed everything the moment you chose to believe. Zarn didn't reply. He just nodded. Alex turned back toward his ship. The others were already inside. Before stepping aboard, he said one last thing. When people ask what happened here, tell them the truth. Tell them humans were real all along. You just didn't look deep enough. Zarn watched as the ship rose into the sky. No banners, no speeches. Just purpose. As it vanished into the clouds, Zarn stood alone on the battlefield, but he wasn't afraid. He looked up and whispered to himself, we were never the most advanced. We were never the strongest, but now I understand. Across the stars, the human signal kept spreading. It wasn't loud. It wasn't a threat. It was a promise. One by one, forgotten pods opened. One by one, voices returned. And the galaxy would never forget them again. Humans weren't myths. They were the storm the silence had feared for centuries. And now, they were awake.